Kathy?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
We need a motion to approve the warrant payroll timesheets, please.
I move they be approved.
Roll call, please.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy? Yes. Kathy?
Yes.
Bill? Ralph?
Yes. We need a motion to approve the interest transfer, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy? Yes. Kathy?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes. We need a motion to approve the operating transfer to the police fund, please.
Motion made.
I'm going to sign something else.
Roll call, please.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy? Yes. Kathy?
Yes.
Bill? Ralph?
Yes. A motion to approve the grant matching transfer to the street department fund, please.
Motion made.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy? Peggy?
Peggy and I are conversing, we're just looking at the
Kathy?
report. Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
I'm good. We need just a second, I'm sorry.
Right.
She's in Lawrence, and that email, so she has everything today. And this matches what she has on the sheet. And you may look at all these and see what the number is. Thank you.
All right, Susan and I are right here for a moment. Next up is Mr. Melody.
Oh, did you put the police fund, or did I miss?
Yeah, we did.
That's because I'm talking, I apologize.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
All right.
I forgot to mark it, yes.
This on? Make sure. All right, Mr. Mayor, council. So the reason I've chosen to speak tonight is to create a productive dialogue and respectful line of communication. The reason I have chosen to speak here tonight is to create a productive dialogue and respectful line of communication that will express the concerns of the citizens of New Paris regarding the state of the streets in the village. I don't think it's any secret that this discussion's been going on behind these, outside of these doors with citizens in the town. And there's been a lot of complaining, and that's not what I'm here to do tonight. I'm here to express the concerns that the citizens actually have. I'm not going to explain any opinions of what they have. I'm just going to express the concerns that they have. The concerns are the cost that is associated with damage to the vehicles. So some citizens have reported that their tires have been punctured or damaged. Myself, I have not experienced that. But these costs could exceed in excess of $500 if the rim is damaged. And there are potholes deep enough to actually damage rims. So in addition to tire damage, there's the concerns of suspension, tie rods, ball joints, which could also exceed hundreds of dollars. And I'll say that there's probably not many citizens in this town that can afford to put hundreds of dollars in their car at this point. So some of the people said I had no choice but to hit one last week, and I thought it popped my tire. So these kind of comments that people are making are, they're worried about the money they're going to have to spend. They're not really worried about, the safety of anything. They're worried about popping their tires. So they're not worried about hitting one and blowing a tire and then hitting a car next to them. They're worried about the money they have to put in their tires. So I'm going to address some safety concerns that some have and I have myself. Some people have reported going on the wrong side of the road to avoid them. And they don't want to do that, but they have no choice. They would rather put someone else's life at risk than pay to have it repaired their cars. Someone said with warmer weather approaching, there'll be many motorcycles on the road. Now, I get that not many people drive motorcycles in the wintertime. But there is a conversation out there that these holes won't get fixed. Now, some people have expressed that the quality of life in the town is diminished because of the streets and the state of the streets. They're complaining about the gravel. Okay, that's a complaint. Okay, that's actually a result of ice freezing the roads and busting it up. But it's more of an irritation to some. So their quality of life is lower because they're irritated all day long because they have to drive past these holes in the street every day. And they feel disempowered that they can't come and say anything about it. So they stay at home and they complain on the internet. And they create all this dialogue of frustration, disappointment, that nothing can be done. And they're cynical and resigned. One last impact is an economic impact on the village. Someone mentioned that there might be an impact to people coming in town visiting from out of town. For example, coming in for the Apple Fest, or coming in for the Memorial Day Parade. And some people have reported that their relatives come to visit. They're like, what the heck's going on in the streets? This place is in shambles, you know, and they don't come back for a period of time. So we've got all this confusion and uninformed people out there that are voicing their opinions and their circumstances and their reasons why they can stay at home and complain. And the biggest complaint of all is, and this is the biggest complaint, and I want to say it because it is a complaint. Some of them say, all the money that we pay New Paris, where is it going? They have a complaint that it's going to the school or out to the park. And they don't understand about the budgeting and the appropriation of funds. So they stay at home and they complain more and more. So, that being said, you know, where's this all going? And the three questions that the citizens have that they want me to express and voice is, what's the plan the council has created to address the state of the streets? What amount of funds have been appropriated to address the state of the streets? And when will the improvements of the state of the streets begin? And when will the work be completed? So that is my presentation of the concerns of the citizens. And I would ask that the council address these three questions tonight, if you have the means or the time.
All right, thank you. Well, number one, last year, we always address the potholes when the weather changes to where we can do it. It doesn't do us any good to do it in the middle of winter when we're still plowing snow, because we'll just pull it right back out of the ground, which is just a waste of cost to the village and the taxpayers. So last year we spent thousands and about 80 ton around the top of my head patching potholes last year.
Not one citizen came to that stand right there and said, thank you, job well done, because there wasn't a hole in this town 3 months ago. It was a real good seat. We had it sealed, we had all the potholes filled, and it was real nice. Not one person come up to me or council or anything and said, thanks for fixing the holes. But now the winter's here and the holes are back again, which we have no control over Mother Nature. Then the complaints start coming in and we're supposed to do something right away. We're doing the best that we can now. Excuse me.
As you drive down 40 out there, the state roads are in the same conditions, 70s in the same conditions, our streets are in the same conditions. In the wintertime, when you have potholes pop up, you have to wait till the weather breaks before you can fix it. Otherwise, you're just wasting your money, because when the snow plows goes back on top, they just pull them out. So we spent excessive money last year redoing the street, fixing the potholes in the streets. As for the other streets in the village, we have succeeded in the last 10 years in acquiring a little over $3 million for improvements in the streets of this village. So I take a little offense from the people that sit at home and complain and whine and cry that this council is not doing anything for their well-being of the village, because we are trying to do the best we can, and we have done the best we can. So in answer to your complaints or your concerns here tonight is, when the weather breaks, we will fix the potholes in the street. That will not take place until the weather is broken, and then we're not throwing our money away to have to redo it again.
The other problem is the hot mix plants don't open up right when we want them to. We have to wait because we can't get the materials to fix it. And I was looking at the website today, and seen where they thought maybe that 1% income tax takes care of that. What they don't realize is that, 3-4 years ago, when the state started getting cut, the state cuts the county cuts the villages. We had to put that 1% tax, or we'd be shut down. If we shut down, there won't be anything. There won't be an office, there won't be a police department. We are doing the best that we can do with what money we have. What money comes in is usually from the real estate taxes, which is, a lot of it's been taken away from us. We are doing the best we can do with what little money we have.
Andy, can, I beg your
Oh,
pardon.
there is, we did get a grant to get Cherry Street fixed, and now I don't remember the date the work's going to start. Cherry Street is probably one of the worst ones,
Cherry Street project is this year.
but I don't
And
know
it's
the
from
date.
Washington Street to the village limit. There are 2 phases, is that correct?
There's two sections that we received grant money for. We just got approved. First, we was not approved for the second phase, but now we have been approved for the second phase.
We announced that.
And that
on
will
the
be
meeting
from
last month.
Washington Street to the village limits up past the water plant. So things are in works to make things better for the village, but it does take time.
What's the amount of money to do that part of Cherry Street?
The first phase is 80,600 is what we have to.
That's our share.
That's our
What's
share.
what's the whole thing?
330,000 for phase 1.
And it's like 240 for phase
For
2.
phase 2.
So it's close to $600,000 that we have acquired through grant money to be fixing our streets here in the village.
I mean, I'm not trying to minimize I drive over it too, every day. We're up there all the time. I understand how people feel about it. All I can say is slow down. I know they'd like to slap me right in the head and I can't help it. We got, in the last 12 months, $141, $267.40 in income tax revenue. That's what we got. That has to pay a lot of things besides streets. We work for 2 or 3 years, setting aside money, putting it into street funds, so that we can pay our share of the grants we do get. We've been doing that for a couple of years now. It works out better for us to set it aside. If we have to have it for something else for streets, we can do it, but if we don't have our share, we just have to let that $200,000 that the state has and or the county has or whoever has, we have to let it go. There's no way that we've got $300,000 sitting around, or that we ever will have, to pay from Washington up to the village limit. We don't have it. We have to do it this way. We've been fortunate to get as many grants as we have.
And
We've
then-
also secured, in 2021, there will be a new bridge down on Spring Street over Rocky Ford. So there's things in the works for the village. It takes time, and it takes matching funds to make that happen.
Yeah, the grants are free, but we have to come up with a percentage of each grant, most all the time.
Grants are free if you're lucky enough to be qualified to be selected for the grants. And the village has been very lucky in the last 10 years. We have received, this will be our 6th grant out of the county that we have received. And trust me, we have got more than we've been very fortunate,
We have
very
been
lucky
lucky.
Yeah.
to receive the amount of grants that we have received from the commissioners in the last 10 years.
The only other thing I'd like to say, and this also talks about Cherry Street up there, and East Cherry going up out of town. You know, having traffic stop, which is what the residents all wanted there, causes a lot more friction going up that hill, tears out a lot more pavement going up that hill, and everything else, that stop sign. Now, it's fine, but part of it is that we have tried to keep trucks off of it. There's an ordinance that says they may not use that. They have to stick to the state routes. And if we catch them, we'll ticket them. The other thing is that we waited to do the hot mix last year, and I want you to look, I want anybody to look, because I would say that 90% at least, if not all, the patches we made last year are still there. These are all new places. We couldn't take care of them before the fact, and we can't, you're throwing money away to do it now. I don't want people to have car damage. I don't want people to, and I do want to know where the idea came from, that they can't come down here themselves and say something. Where did that come from?
Their head.
No, that's ridiculous. Look
There
at all
is.
these chairs in here. Come down here and talk to us. We'll tell you what we're telling you right now. We'll tell anybody that.
I thank you guys for all that you have to do for the town. I am grateful for that. And I'm just here as a voice for people because they don't want to come down. They don't feel like they have the freedom to.
But that's crazy.
That's just what's so.
But it shouldn't be that way.
There's a lot of things shouldn't be the way they are.
But I
But
don't
they
know,
are,
how
but
do
here's
we deal
another-
with that then? How do we deal with the
biggest-
fact that people won't come down here and talk to us and then complain about we don't do anything when they have no idea what's going
I
on?
would say they won't remain as calm in this situation as I have.
Well, I'd say
They
you're
would probably
probably
lose their
right.
cool.
You're probably
And
correct.
that's what happens, and that is what has happened in the past. And they're not afraid to say things like, you guys are just willing to let this go on. And you're willing to let these holes go until time is right. Until.
Then they
the
won't
weather
pay
breaks.
double. I mean.
I'm just saying, that they would say, you guys are just willing to let it go on.
Well, in that sense, I guess we are.
Right.
Because we're waiting on being able to fix
And-
some of
and
that.
because- And I'll say, because you're willing to let this wait, it just allows them to keep complaining.
It makes a matter,
It's
and I
It's
not
a
understand.
matter of
It's not a matter of willing, it's a matter of what you have to do. You can't do it in bad weather. It's
Well,
that simple.
we see it every day being patched in bad weather. They were passing on the highway when I drove here today. So they were closing down lanes of the highway to pass roads. So it can be patched.
And maybe the state has a
And
lot
it
more money
washes
to waste
out
than we do.
before
We don't
I'm
have money to waste.
I'm just saying that
Yeah.
their complaint will be, and it
I
is.
know it will, I
It
agree.
can be because they see it happening
They see
all
it
the
in other
time.
places.
They've seen it happening for years.
It's a matter of
And
money.
for years, New Paris hasn't had any money. That's a whole big
I
problem.
must say, I am very grateful for this because this income tax, because Mary Jane's right. We didn't have that.
We wouldn't have New
The
Paris.
state would be taking this place over and running it, or the county, whoever, and
We
we
go
would
back
have
to
no
the county.
say at
Go
all.
back to the county.
We would have no, and none of us, nobody living here, paying taxes here, nobody would have any say at all. It's just,
And you'll pay whatever the state or county tells you to pay.
we don't want that.
We appreciate your concern, and we will address the holes as quickly as possible that weather allows us to do. We addressed it last year when we were committed to do so, and we will address it this year.
Just so I can take it back to them, like, what does the weather have to look like for these holes to keep?
Well, number one, asphalt plants has got to be opened up, because cold patch doesn't last. We have found that it's a waste of money to use cold patch when we go out here and get asphalt and put it down and compact it and then seal it. It stays in the ground and lasts a lot longer. So therefore, by the time you do it twice with cold patch, it's cheaper to buy it from the asphalt plant that does a better job and it holds better.
That's why the holes that were patched last year with a hot mix and sealed properly are the ones that are still holding today.
Yeah.
The ones you see today are new.
And we purchased a hot box last year, so we could, when we pick it up out there, we can keep it hot. So it's liquefied, and when we put it down, it's a better job putting it down where we can compact it. That's the way, just like with your asphalt, they put it down hot and roll it for a reason.
Looks great. I think it looks great.
And that's the same reason we do our potholes the same way. So that's the answer. When the weather breaks, the asphalt plant opens up, we will address the potholes, just like we did last year.
Do you guys know what date we did that work on last year?
It was later than we wanted it to be because they had trouble getting
Because
their
the weather
mix.
was delayed last year,
They
opening
didn't
up,
open up the
out
hot
there,
mix
so.
until late because we were ready to go and they weren't.
Yeah, we
It's
were.
whenever the asphalt plants open up, and that is out of our control. No one here has a crystal ball to tell you when that date is.
But last year was mid to end of April.
I think it was April.
Exact date.
Not-
Last year, it was
Exact
addressed
date.
as quickly as it could be addressed when the asphalt plants opened up.
There's also Jeff Golden, I'm sorry, puts our meetings every month on the YouTube, so that people can watch the meetings and know more what's going on too. They don't want to come down here, but they should be here. It's an open meeting, anybody's welcome to come.
No, no, we
Although
don't,
some of them do get upset and
we don't want to have a shouting match, because that doesn't solve anything. But don't say, I can't go, because you can go.
And I get that the
Just trying
citizens
to
have a
be
duty
civil.
and the council's got a duty, and that's what they're looking at.
we're doing the best we can do, as far as I'm concerned.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
But they need to slow down and not get them potholes so hard. I'm one of them.
Mr. Smallwood, do you have something for council?
I've got questions.
You don't have it.
I have a question. Have you received, the council received a letter dated, or from me dated December 26, 2017?
We did.
Has the village council read it?
I'm sorry?
Has the village council read it?
I think most of the council members got a copy.
I don't have one, and
You
I
did
don't
not?
know that they got
They
anything.
did not know? They did not receive a copy? Okay.
May I ask that the clerk make copies and present them?
Absolutely. We will. I can tell you that there is going to be an executive session on this discussion later in this meeting. But there was discussion that took place about this. Well, the Green Drainage.
In December.
December the 13th, that's a special.
Yeah.
Started
Yeah.
to survey all property and to realign.
Any, like, sir?
I'd like for the council to be able to read the letter, please. May I ask why they wouldn't distribute the letter?
There has been a meeting. It's the first meeting since the letter.
Since that letter was received?
Well, I wasn't at the last meeting, let me rephrase
I'm not
that.
asking you if you was at the meeting, I'm asking why wasn't the letter, registered letter sent to the village received by the council members at every date receipt?
What day was it received? I don't remember.
And then we got the board budget for the January meeting.
Received 12/27/17. I guess, the obvious question is, this is February or something. Amanda signed the letter 12/27/17. I'm just asking why I had to come to council meeting to get the village to, the council to be able to see the letter. That's the question.
Council was not denied the letter was sent to our solicitor. And we've been waiting for a response from our solicitor.
That doesn't answer my question. The letter was sent, not sent to your solicitor, the letter was sent to these individuals, you and the village manager. Why didn't they receive a copy of the letter? Does all mail go to the solicitor before these people are allowed to read their mail?
There's a possibility, Steve, by the wording of this particular letter, where there's a question about legal action against the village. The minute you see that,
It's not saying that there's legal action.
it says,
It's saying,
it said it could be
I have
necessary
an order come
to file
the next time
legal
I read
action.
to you, then we understand what it says, but it doesn't say that I'm suing you.
I don't know, because I didn't make that choice to send it to the solicitor, but I'm
I'm
saying
asking
if I-
the question, why wasn't the individuals of the village council, why did not they receive that letter, a copy of that letter when I sent it to you?
I personally can't answer that, because this is, I just think.
No answer then?
I don't have an answer for you. I wasn't at the last meeting to get this letter out, so I don't have an answer for you. There's letters in there that
Did
you
you
can put in the
dispatch, did
boxes.
you dispatch the mail?
I do not.
Okay.
Are we continuing? Anything else, Steve?
I just wanted to know you said there was a letter at the attorney's office now,
I assume it's a copy of this letter here, right?
Yes.
and whose decision was that?
I addressed it with our solicitor. Any other, Steve, that you have for us tonight?
Not tonight, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Susan,
Hey, thank you.
how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for letting me be late. I have to do my flip-flop instead of leaving your meeting early. I come late. I have good news. We received notification that our East Cherry Street Phase 2 project has been funded. So woo-hoo, that's a great Christmas present for me. So I think I found out just a couple of days before Christmas. So yay. That's a good thing. So I do have an engineering agreement for you this evening, so we can get started on that. We will be putting Phase 1 and Phase 2 together. So we will do from Washington Street all the way out to the Fork. That'll include new curb, new sidewalk, storm drainage, and then we'll come in and mill off the top and put a new surface on to get rid of all the cracking and holes and what have you. So, and then there's also some money in there for some repair. If there's some areas of the street where, you know, we've got some base problems, that type of thing, and we need to go and do some repair areas, we've got some money in there for that.
Do you know when that'll start? Sometime this year?
Yeah, we can, I think it's possible, we can get moving with the engineering, we can hopefully maybe do it yet this summer. So, the Ohio Public Works Commission money, you got that in July, so that's sitting there ready to go. The county is working on the environmental that they have to do. I've submitted some stuff to Kim Keller that she requested about 2 weeks ago. So she's working on that, so I would anticipate that she'll have the environmental review and then release the funds due, done probably, I would say maybe February or March. That has nothing to do with the engineering, we just can't, do any construction or sign a construction contract. The other thing we'll need to address is trees. We need to do some tree removal down there. As you all know, the lovely Indiana bat is our friend, and so we have to make sure that we have those trees taken down before April 1st, so that we don't interrupt any of their mating season, because they're important. So, we can get the trees figured out, get them marked, get some pricing for the trees. That's kind of what we've done in the past, is we went down there and kind of put marks on them so that you can get some prices from some different tree contractors. I know Greg Stevens has done some before. I'm not sure who else. I just had trees taken down to New Madison all the way on North Main Street, if you've been through there.
Yes.
Forget what you call it, curve down through there. We did storm sewer there in the fall. And so Tree Masters, they're out of Greenville, they did that one. But, so we can get some tree bids and be ready to keep moving.
Good.
All right, very good. The other thing I have to let you know about is the Preble County CDBG program. You may have gotten a packet in the mail. I just got mine today, but I have talked to Kim Keller, and they're on a pretty quick cycle. I'm not real sure why, but she is. She's having the public hearing on the 12th, which is next Monday. It's the first public hearing. Nobody has to go. It has no bearing on whether you get money or don't get money. Then they're having a meeting on the 16th, which is a planning meeting that they're required to have in regards to the state grant that they'll put in. If you want a project in the 2019-2020 construction year, you need to be there to make sure your project's on the list. They'll be taking applications on March the 2nd, which is really quick. And then they're scheduled to have their second public hearing on March the 21st at 1:30 in the afternoon. She anticipates that there will be approximately $200,000 available. They typically, as you know, try to break that down into parts and pieces to spread it around a little bit. So I would venture to say you're probably looking at, they're probably looking at 3 or 4 projects will be all they're allowed to do. The state governs how many projects they can do. I doubt they'll be able to do much more than 4. So they're probably looking at $50,000 to $60,000 projects. So if there's something particular that you guys are thinking of that might be in that ballpark, I know the bridge on Spring Street, you're going to be kind of ahead of schedule with that one because they won't have their money on this until September, and they won't have that released probably January of next year. That's why I said it's a 1920. So Spring Street, we're probably going to be too far along by that point. I know Jimmy talked to me about, is it the High Street Bridge?
Yeah.
That has some problems. I don't know if that's something we might want to consider looking at. I don't know exactly what it entails as far as what we need to do there to know, have any idea how much that might cost and whether that would even fit in that budget.
It's always something good to have in the pipeline with the Cherry Street project going this year and trying to put the money back for the bridge in 2021. I don't think that we're going to have any funding off the top of my head to, I mean, it's always good to have something in the loop.
I know, and you do, we have that water
That way,
line.
that we're in there for 3 years, and that way, it's in the loop, and in
Yes.
case
They've
something
seen it
marvelously
before,
happens,
yes.
it's always good to have an ideal in the loop, but financially, we're pretty restrained on
think we
stuff
are.
until after the
I know
bridge
we
is
are.
completed in 2021.
And we can wait and put something in the next cycle in 20. I mean, if you submit
Yeah,
something
yeah.
now, it's not really the
It'll
same
already be out
as
of
the
cycle.
pipeline. Yeah, it's not really the same as the pipeline with the Ohio Public Works Commission. That you have to be in the pipeline. In this particular program, you don't really have to be, so we could put something in 20 that they've never seen before, and that's okay. It still has just as much chance as anything else. So I don't think that's a concern in my mind if we want to just like lay low and, get to the projects we have already on task and then re-look at it come 2020. I think that's fine.
Great.
So I just wanted to let you know about it. Other than that, I think that's all I have.
All right.
All
Can I
right.
ask a question?
You absolutely can.
Is that a matching 50, is that a,
Which one?
this $200,000 grant?
It's basically the way that they do that is there's no real matching requirement per se. You can ask for all the money and have no match, but the more match you have, the better that they're going to look at your project. And the county commissioners are the ones that make those decisions. So obviously they're going to look at need, they drive around and look at all the projects before they make any decisions, actually before the second public hearing. So there's no requirement for a match on that particular grant. Some of the other grants there are on the grant for the bridge, they have to match 5% of the construction plus cover all the engineering. On the project on East Cherry Street, one project, they have a required 10% match, and the other one, they have a 26% match. So they're just all different.
Okay. So I just have a question for the council. If you don't have to match any money, why aren't you interested in applying for it?
Well, I mean, we could.
We
could
didn't
apply
say
for
we
the
weren't
whole thing.
interested, we were saying that we're pretty obligated. We know, I mean, we can throw a project out there, that's not a problem. But the chances of getting a project without any money, knowing how this system works, is not going to take place.
It makes more sense for the commissioners to divvy that up
They're not going to
into
pay it
4
all,
projects.
if we're not going to match anything, they're not going to give us any money.
Well, we don't know that. There's a chance. It's possible. I mean, that's why I like to live inside of what's possible instead of a chance. It's possible that they could get it.
Typically, that doesn't happen simply because,
Preble County.
Well,
the
but
other
anywhere.
thing I think you've got to remember is, and you know, kind of been in the process, but typically it used to be they had this grant every year. And the state came in and changed it and decided because they only got such a small amount of money, they couldn't really do much with it, so they felt like it wasn't really good use of the funds. And so what they did was they made it an every other year program. So some counties are odd counties and some counties are even counties. So there's been no money for 2 years. So there's going to be projects come out of the woodwork from everybody because there wasn't a cycle last year. And so typically, I've never really put a project in, I don't think that has any match. And even then, they would have to cover the engineering of the project in their own funds. So it wouldn't really be like it was like, well, we get the money and it costs us nothing, because it still does cost
There
us
will still be
something.
some cost for engineering and
Yeah,
other.
right, correct.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
So that money goes towards the actual construction, but it doesn't pay for any of the soft costs related to that, like, you know, putting a bid package together, putting
Yeah.
plans together, that,
Okay.
they would have to come up with
Thank
money
you.
for that.
Okay, that's
So,
what I was.
I guess it's not really like it's just free money, it's not, you know, it sounds like it, because there's no match,
Right,
but
but
that's
there's
only on
cost.
construction. So,
Thank
make
you.
sense?
It does, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Susan.
Great, thank you.
It's the time of year that we need to, council needs to select a president of council. So therefore, I will open the floor up for recommendations for that position. Anybody would like to propose one?
I'd like to recommend Kathy Smallwood. She's done an excellent job this past year. I'd like to see her have that position.
I'll second that.
No other proposals? Roll call, please.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Kathy?
Abstain.
Bill?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Safety reports, Chief?
This is Scott Handel, 73 calls for service, made 12 reports, 2 arrests, issued 4 citations, and gave 8 warnings for the month of January. The only other thing I got on there is every year we have to do, renew the ordinance for the Ohio Basic Codes. So I got that set up there somewhere.
Okay. All right. This is just a ordinance for the code of ordinance here. It's ordinance, I'll read this in title only. Ordinance 2018-04, an ordinance approving, adopting, and enacting American Legal Publishing Ohio-based Code for 2018 edition as a code of ordinance for the village of New Paris, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
I might add that that's for criminal code.
Yes,
Yes.
this is adopted by the state, it's something we do every year.
It's just so that our laws all match what the state of Ohio has.
Yes. We need a motion to adopt ordinance 2018-04, please.
I know that we all did, but I'm out. Go ahead, Ralph.
Motion made. Second.
Roll call, please.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
We need a motion to forego the three reading rule and pass as emergency, please. Ordinance 2018-04.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Bill? Ralph?
Yes.
Okay, we received, no, wait a minute. That's up there. We have an ordinance, 2018-03, and this ordinance is to preliminary legislation for the Spring Street Bridge replacement. This ordinance enacted by the Village of New Paris, Preble County, Ohio, whereas refers to the local public agency, whereas the local public state agency has determined the need of description of the project below, replacement of the existing structure that carries a spring street over the Rocky Fork Creek, including a widening of structure. We've already approved this, and we've got the money, we've agreed to set this aside, so this is just a formality.
It's the legal documents, isn't it?
That needs to be voted on and signed.
I make a motion that we adopt or approve the ordinance 2018-03 for the Spring Street Bridge replacement.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Okay, and on this bridge replacement, we were required to advertise for the engineering on the bridge. And we received two packets, one from ADR out of Newark, Ohio, and the other one from Moat Associates out of Greenville. There is no bid here. This is simply council selecting who they would like for their qualifications in engineering.
Both have the qualifications required, is that correct?
Yes. And my suggestion to council is that for the sakes of the fact that someone is convenient close by and the fact that we have a working relationship with Moat Associates, my recommendation to council would be to make us Moats and Associate our engineering for that project.
I make a motion, we have Motion Associates to perform that project on the Spring Street Bridge.
Is there a cost?
There's a cost to the
There's a
engineering,
cost.
whatever
Yeah,
we select.
Oh,
But
This is just selecting a firm to do that. There is no bid here, there's no one
Neither
cheaper than
has
the other.
cost
This is
attached.
simply us deciding who we want to use. We had two people apply for it. One out of Newark, Ohio, and Moat Associates.
It seems to me that if we have someone closer. But neither have, well, I'm sure that's true, but neither has a monetary amount attached
No,
okay.
this is us deciding who we want to work with,
who has the qualifications.
who has the
And
qualifications.
they just do
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy?
I abstain.
Kathy?
it. Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Resolution 2018-06, resolution to select Moat and Associates as a qualified engineer for the Spring Street Bridge project and declaring an emergency. There, whereas Moat Associates meets all qualifications that successfully complete the reconstruction of the Spring Street Bridge project, now therefore it be resolved by the Council of the Village of New Paris, Preble County, Ohio, as follows. Section 1, Moat Associates and Company is hereby authorized to be the engineering and the reconstruction of the Spring Street Bridge project. Section 2, this resolution is hereby declared an emergency measures to take effect and be enforced immediately upon the passage to meet the project deadline. I would need a motion to accept resolution 2018-06, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy? Abstain. Kathy?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Building. Anybody? No? Streets?
Potholes, we can take care of as soon as we can.
Lights?
I
Oh, sorry.
have a question about streets, and this is just to appease people who might accidentally hear this. Is there any way to look at the most dangerous, or if indeed they are, and I'm not doubting that there are some really awful ones, and slam some cold mix into them, or is it, I know it's wasting our money, I realize that. But if there's a way to keep people from having their cars damaged, because can't they come back on us for that, truthfully?
I don't think so. I think that's a commissioner's.
You don't think that it's a negligent issue
I think it's, in the past, it's been turned into your private.
to their own insurance? Okay, well, I hate to see that anyway, but,
But
I don't know.
I will talk to Jimmy.
see if he knows of anything that's really awful that we can't just leave. You know, I mean, people need to slow down. They all, if they've gone that way, they know what it's like. Last year it was like somebody been,
Scrap board.
well, like somebody been bombing the street.
I drive
And
through
it's
there
gonna be
every
the
day.
same. I know it, Ralph, so what? You know, it's bad. You just have to really slow down. But if, and are there other streets where we have really bad issues?
Holly Mills is pretty rough.
Is it?
Yeah.
Now, that's a street I don't go on.
We have a few up there that have developed, the ones that were
Sure.
repaired last year, but it's still holding.
I would just like to see the street department take a quick look, not asking them to fill up every hole in the town, because people are just going to have to try to slow down.
When they get a certain depth, something needs to be done.
Well, if they're big enough for your whole
Well,
fire
last
to
year
go down,
there was.
they're on me.
And they-
Monday.
I know,
Lucky.
I know, and I
Yeah, we did it
realize
tomorrow.
that.
Especially
Maybe we
when
should
you gotta
try.
pass another car with all the cars parked.
Worst thing about the cold patch is it's not liquefied when you put it down.
Yes.
So it's not very manageable, it's not very
And it
compatible.
washes out when
And then
spring
when,
gets
and when it's
here.
not level and it's flat, and we go across it with a snowplow, first time across
Pops
it,
out.
it rips it out. That's the problem.
I-
It's not,
I
it's
realize
not
that,
a
I
question
do.
of whether we'd like to
I
fix it,
know
it's a
that.
question whether, it's gonna stay in there.
I do know that, but I think that it would behoove us to just make sure there isn't anything so dangerous that we are just letting it,
I'll
you know.
talk to Jimmy tomorrow.
If people slowing down, we'll take care of it. We should just put some things up that say, slow down the rough road.
Can I add something? What if it doesn't snow anymore this year?
What if it doesn't?
What if it doesn't snow anymore this year, and snowplows don't come through,
And point being,
but they won't get ripped up?
well, they may not get ripped up anymore, but the freeze and thaw is going to create something else somewhere else, maybe right next to it or on up the street a little ways without the snowplow touching it.
100% I heard the
And
snowplow.
the other thing is, the cold patch is not the best thing to use. The best thing to use is the asphalt. Your money is better spent on asphalt than it is cold patch.
Yeah. And I get that the money from the council is
We
what
saved
your guys'
several-
concern is, that the money that the council spends, and it's not the citizens' concerns, it's the money that you guys spend. And I'm
It's
clear on
their
that.
money, you
We
know.
saved the
I'm clear
village
on that.
several $100s, maybe $1,000 last year by doing the hot mix and the tar that we did versus cold mix again and again and again. A one-time shot saved the village hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
And we
I mean,
also, We also spent $13,000 last year having 2 streets, the cracks
All
sealed.
sealed. You drive up down the streets, you see all them wormy looking seals. We had all that done to prevent more
Potholes
cracks.
from occurring. And that was 13 grand just on that.
Right.
And-
And we're gonna have to do the same thing on the new repair jobs, because we're gonna have to seal all these new potholes that, once we do get them filled, so that they'll hold the adhesive.
But if an uninformed driver did come down Holly Mills Road and hit those potholes, he's gonna go off the road. That is for sure. They're gonna be in trouble. Now, if you don't believe me.
If he
you
drove
go
slow
there and
enough,
slow
he wouldn't
down.
have that problem.
I'm just saying, an uninformed person who's going to speed limit at 35, 40 mile an hour.
You can say the same thing about a
There's
township
gonna
road, you can
be
say the
some
same
ways
thing
gonna
about,
get
you can say the same thing about a state road.
I get it.
You can say that about anything.
I get it, so.
Is there no way
We
we
just hope
can
nobody
post
has an accident, that's all.
anything?
Well, let's hope nobody dies, that's all.
The correction is that the speed limit on that side of the road is 25 miles per hour. So if
I
you're
get it.
doing
I
20
got
miles
that.
per hour,
Yeah.
then
Just
it's more of an issue.
Just because the speed limit says 35 or 90, you don't have to drive that fast under
I
road
get it.
conditions.
Yeah, and just because it
Anybody
costs
with
thousands
common
of dollars
sense
doesn't
will
mean
know
they're
that.
not obligated to fix it either. Because we can make all these arguments.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can argue back and forth all day about it.
But, I mean,
We're gonna-
the
we're
willingness
gonna
to let
address
this
it
go
as
on
quick
is
as we
what's,
can.
is what's frustrating. It's just your guys' willingness to let these
We're
holes
moving as
persist.
fast as
It's
we
not
can.
willingness, it's beyond, it's.
Yeah, you're willing to not do anything about it. You're willing to not, to let it go.
Did we do
It's-
anything last year?
I'm sorry?
Did we do anything about it last year?
Not till April.
Did we do anything about it last year?
In April, you did do something.
That's right, we did as soon as that pop mix
And the complaints
asphalt
were
plant
there.
opened up.
And now they're again.
We started doing something. You
Really bad.
can't apply it. If you don't have any ink in your pen, can you write with it?
They're actually worse this year. There's 50 holes.
They're not worse this year, they're worse last year than they are
I
this
counted them. I
year.
just went, and I just counted about a total of 150 potholes. up
There were 50 potholes last year in front of my house,
Yeah.
and I live on Cherry Street, and I deal with them potholes every day.
There's 150 potholes in our streets. And that's
Okay.
only counting Holly Mills and Cherry. That's not counting Hutton and Maine.
There's
So-
probably more than that through
I
the
got it.
village, but we're moving as fast as we can with it. If you can get it to quit snowing, the sun come out, warm up, you can get them to open up your.
Well, there's a
plant.
solution. It's coal patch.
No,
That's
there
the
isn't.
solution to
The
the
solution
potholes.
is not, that's a temporary, that's putting a Band-Aid on a big cut.
Yeah. That's preventing people from getting hurt or
Preventing
damaging their
people
car.
from going over at the speed limit.
You would rather them spend their money than you guys spend your money. That's what you're,
We're
that's what
spending
you're willing
their
to
money,
do.
not our
and
money.
we saved
It's
their
their
money. by
You're willing
doing what we
to
did.
not spend their money. They
All right.
have to spend their money again.
This discussion is over.
Thank you.
Moving on.
Appreciate it.
I'm sorry, I opened
Finance.
my mouth. Finance. We have our annual appropriation rooms.
Yeah, that just needs signed from the last time.
Oh, it's just things I have to sign. I thought we already did it, yes.
You just have to sign it.
So these things are just in need of my signature since I
They
do.
are.
So I don't really have anything except, I will say, everybody got a copy of the income tax, right? The revenue from the income tax. I want you to look back to the very first, 2014, the first one on this list, and you realize $166,600 some odd dollars, $166,600 some odd dollars. And in 217, it was 141,267. Okay, it goes down every year. And
3 years, we've lost $25,000.
we have,
All right.
that's quite a lot of money for us. It's a lot, makes a big hole
And
in
when
places where we can't
and
afford
when the
holes.
county budget got cut, we used to get $86,000 from the budget from the county, and now we're down to 42,
It's gonna have,
42,
and
I
it
know.
drops every year.
and it drops
It
every year.
drops every year. So, you know,
And then when people are late on their real estate taxes and all that hurts too.
well, you know,
We can
it's
all,
just,
it doesn't, sometimes it doesn't all come in at the same time.
Sanitation,
I don't have anything.
planning,
I need,
I know of.
There's a tree down there on the sidewalk in front of Sandy Reisel place that needs to be taken care of.
yeah,
That could be on the sanitation.
and over here, yeah,
it's been on the list, and when he passed away, it
Oh,
stopped.
yeah.
Can we
It's
take a
been-
bulldozer
it's
up there and
been-
push it up in his grass or something?
I don't,
We'll
we're
have
not
to get a
allowed
legal
to.
opinion.
Yeah, but we have a.
It was in the
backhoe we can
process.
take up there and just scoop it up and throw it up in this grass. And that'd be for free.
There were some other
And it'd be towed in.
issues, but you just can't go in there. Since he's passed away, it put a stop to it.
So you
Until,
guys don't take over something that's on a public walkway?
they never have. I mean, oh, it's never been left that way before.
Whose responsibility is it now that he's passed away?
Is a
His
state.
son,
Yeah.
his son's
Yeah.
the
States.
administrator.
Not, it's not the village's.
Is a state.
And I'm not sure if we have to start all over again, since it's a different person and different circumstances, but I would be willing to bet that we do.
The consequences of, again, you guys willing to let it go for months on end.
Now, I don't know if that's,
No.
no, but I'm just, all I'm saying is, it takes months to get through the court system, to get things down to Eaton, to get any action on things.
It
It
could have
takes a
taken a
while.
conversation, said, Sandy, we'll come up with our backhoe and shove it up in your yard. It could have taken.
If I have a
We're
lien
not
in my
allowed to
yard, I
do
don't want you
that.
coming in
That's
my
a
yard with a
conflict of
backhoe.
interest, because if we do it for him, we gotta do it for everybody. So that is in the Ohio Revised Code. We're
If it's a
not allowed-
safety issue, you can't do it?
Well, I don't know. I would, but have to ask the attorney about that. And that's another thing we're in the process of doing is updating the ordinance and trying to get some more teeth into it to where we can go in there and do some more things. But
Right now,
I'll contact the attorney and see.
He is working on it.
Yeah.
I talked to him in January. He's
I
working
mean,
on it.
the tree being on the sidewalk.
Actually, I think the tree is laid up in the yard, is it not?
It's across the sidewalk.
Is it across the sidewalk?
It
Yes.
used to be on the sidewalk.
Unless they moved it to tonight, it's across the sidewalk, the biggest part of the trunk
It's been
of
there
that
since
tree.
it's fallen.
Down on Spring
Yeah.
Street, you know, in that rental house that used to be the flower shop. That's where it is, on the corner
I
street.
didn't think it was on the sidewalk, I thought it was still.
No.
There's
It
been
is over-
similar
it's
issues
completely
to
across
that,
the
on
sidewalk.
cleaning up and everything, and they have been taken to court. The court finds them, but they never make them clean anything up. So that's another, you just pull your hair out or bang your head on the wall trying to get anything done.
Well, that's why we have our solicitor looking at what other people do, simplify the darn thing so we can get through it faster, and put some penalty in it that, and some demand that it be abated. The nuisance, it's a nuisance to have a tree that large or any size
Or jump.
across your sidewalk.
It's just, the laws aren't, our ordinances aren't, I don't know, they just don't coordinate. I'm going through the process. So like I said, when it gets to the court system, all they do is usually fine them, and then nothing ever gets done. What I'm wanting to do, if, I start on a lot of the grass problems and weed problems in April. They're still going on. And once it goes through the court system, you have to start all over again with the very first process. So it's just banging your head on the wall all the time, trying to get it done.
Well, there are sample ordinances on
Yeah, you told
that,
me.
that site.
Yeah.
And they all
He's
have.
got- He's got some
municipality.
things,
They all
other
have-
things that would be better than ours, I don't know. I really kind of hoped I would hear something from him
I
tonight.
just like to go in there and get it cleaned up or whatever needs to be done after they get their final notice. If it isn't done after their final notice, 10 days, well, but it usually doesn't happen. But then we got to go through the process of getting a court order and or whatever we need from the court system, the police department, and everybody else to get in there and do that.
Because some cities it works. I mean,
Yeah.
The majority of cities, they have ordinances that actually work in these kind of situations.
I know,
But ours don't work for some reason.
no, for some reason.
Well, we're looking at why. You know, he should have something for us. I thought maybe he would have something for us this evening, so we're going to have to call him. If you'd like to do that, or would you like me to?
Doesn't matter. I can do it. Or
Okay.
you do
Go ahead,
it.
no, go ahead and call him. I've talked to him 2 times now,
Okay.
but I know he's working on it.
BPA, don't have anybody here. We need to select committees. Street, Ralph and Bill. Finance will be Kathy and Bill. Lights will be Peggy. Sanitation will be Peggy and Mary Jane together. Hopefully Peggy, you can give Mary Jane some help on this. She's pretty busy. The same things we've just had a 5-minute discussion about. We need all the help in that situation we can get on sanitation and ordinances to help. So once we get the ordinances in place, we'll go around and try and get these people to clean stuff up. Unfortunately, they know that we don't have enough bite in our ordinance, and so they don't know anything about it. So we don't have the authority without right now to be able to help do anything about it. Safety will be Ralph and Kathy. Building will be Bill. Ordinance and resolutions will be Mary Jane and Kathy. Right now, I need a motion to go into executive session for discussion on legalities, please. Roll call, please.
Mary Jane,
Yes.
Peggy,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Bill, Ralph,